gradient and then tested with the Raspberry Pi interface and with a camera. So this is the system block diagram. We have the PyCam, the Raspberry Pi. It's better here with the circuit diagram. So the Raspberry Pi, the relay to control the solenoid lock, and the camera. So for the flowchart, what happens on the system is whenever each frame is passed through the AI model, and the AI model is able to predict whether we have the person is with the face mask with, as long as it's with confidence above 60%, it opens the solenoid lock. And if it's below that, or it's not sure that whether or not the person is with a face mask, the solenoid lock remains locked. This is from the results. This shows the system, this is the embedded system in a 3D encapsulated case, and we have a wooden door frame with a solenoid lock for the implementation. So over here from the test results, you can see that since I was wearing a face mask, you can see a boundary box, a green boundary box saying face mask on, and when the face mask is off, you see face mask off. OpenCV is used for the displays over here and for the boundary, getting the boundary boxes and everything. So on the left, you see a picture, an image of me with the face mask on, and me on the right, you see me with the face mask off. So in conclusion, after data collection, training, validation, deployment, and testing of the system, this system presents a machine learning solution for image processing, facial mask recognition for access control, in efforts to curb the spread of the virus. This can be implemented in schools, at gatherings like the conference we are currently having, and many other places in efforts to curb the spread. And it's also, in conclusion, also mobile net V2 is an optimal solution for embedded systems. So thank you for your time.
Shukran Jaziran. Thank you very much, Regina, for the wonderful presentations. And thank you for sticking to the time. We are on time and on course. I think the last presentation for this very session is going to be presented by Haitham Mohammed Al-Basuni, and is going to make a presentation on the impact of earnings quality on predictions of financial distress and applied on companies listed in the Egyptian Stock Exchange. Dr. Haitham.
Okay. Okay.
Jade, shukran.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Hello, everybody. With you, Dr. Haitham Basuni, lecturer of accounting at Ur Institute. My research paper in the conference entitled The Impact of Earning Quality on Prediction of Financial Distress. Objective to clarify the impact of the relation between the earning quality and its impact on predicting the financial distress of companies listed on EGX. An applied study of a sample of companies listed on the EGX to test the relationship between the study variables and the content analysis method was related on the financial reports of 85 companies in the period from 2015 to 2019. The hypothesis of study the earning quality and the prediction of financial stress. Doctor. recommendation, it was found that there is a negative and significant relationship between the earning quality and the prediction of financial distress. Z-score, outline, introduction, research problem, research objective, theoretical review, conclusions. Introduction, financial distress has become a matter of concern to professional organizations and companies. The financial distress indicates is important to stakeholders because it represents a measure of companies' performance. When companies face financial distress, it's natural that investors and creditors refuse to invest in these companies. Earning quality to possibility of the company to financial distress is due to earning quality. Research problem. Is there a relation between the earning quality and the prediction of financial distress of companies? Research objective, a statement of the relation and the prediction of financial distress of companies. Let's go. There are some definition of the earning quality, but this definition have taken two perspectives. The first perspective states that the earning quality is closely related to the company's performance. The second perspective, it's believed that the earning quality is related to performance of the company's shares in the stock market. The measurement with earning quality, actual quality, abnormal actual, sumness, value relevance, time less, conservatism, earning quality index, the information continued. Variable two, financial stress, measurement, Altman, Z-score, also index. Conclusion, there is a negative relationship between the earning quality and the prediction of financial distress, and result in consistence with the study Ibrahim. As for the control variables, it's clear that there is a positive relationship between the financial leverage and the prediction of financial distress. Finally, there is a negative and non-significant relationship between the return on equity, company size, earning per share, operating cash flow, and the prediction of financial distress. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Haitham, for the presentations on the impact of the earning and the financial distress. And without wasting much time, we have heard from the four presenters all what it takes and entails in their paper. And if there are questions, I will open the floor for discussions, and we will have 20 minutes of discussion. However, we have leverage because we save about 5 minutes from the four presentations. We can have up to 25 minutes of discussions. And if there are questions on the floor, you can take it. I do have one question, but I will just leave and come at last. The floor is open.
Sorry, yes, Dr. Kelly, I have a question for Dr. Rasha Stuhi about her paper.
Go ahead.
Dr. Rasha, I have one question about the number of record of data set and how many.
Closer to the mic so that we can hear you.
Okay. I would like, yes. How many? Yes. Yes. How many record of data set and how many number of emotion in your data set, and why use the techniques of Bayesian, and why don't use another techniques in machine learning?
Okay.
Yes.
First, we make our examination or examine our data on 8,000 records of data set. Okay, that's we choose it according to worldwide criteria from Google first, and it's admitted from the worldwide organization in Canada. That's the first question. About the second question, why we use a certain methodology? No, we don't use certain methodology. We integrate the 4 methodologies, the very known 4 methodologies, to make optimization and to test our accuracy and performance. That's your second question. About your third question, about
number of labor.
Number of labor, yes. Number of emotions, it was 11 emotions. Most of recent papers and previous works talk about 2 emotions only, negative or positive. So we expand our emotions to cover most of teens' emotions, about 11 emotions. That's what we did with our work. So Bahi will complete and say another.
First,
Shukran jazeeran wallahi.
My appreciation for your question. That's a good question. I would add that the data set it was bigger than 8, but when we split it, it had been 8,000 records for the training set and about 5 for testing set. The number of emotions was 11, as this is the new step at our work. As my doctor mentioned, the common classification till this moment is single classification. Now we're trying to do something advanced, something more special that can help a lot of fields. And the third question is,
that's enough.
That's enough.
That's enough.
Thank you,
Doctor.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rasha. I am so happy because of one thing. I'm so happy because when I was doing my PhD, exactly my supervisor allowed me to make the presentations and he takes the questions. And that is a good way of building capacity, which I have seen. I am highly impressed and I'm highly encouraged. Any question from the floor?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. First of all, I'm too delighted to Dr. Rasha Stuhi for exposing this work for the first time in such a conference to our students. This is a good experiment and you deserve many gratitude and thanks. Thank you. Now to paper number 21 by Dr. Ziad. I have a question for you. We have learning, 2 types of learning, face-to-face and e-learning. Yes? You make a pioneer paper concerning types of essay test and publishing. And also face-to-face. Now, how many students did you expose it to this? 800. For short term. Second level. Yes. As far as I understand, you didn't find a suitable way. You estimate face-to-face with essay and bubble, and estimate also e-learning, essay, and what is the result of your research? I intend to have a combined system of learning, which is called interactive e-learning, IEL. Interactive e-learning is the moderate solution for this problem. In a way, we consider that the book or the literature or notebook in the hands of the students is very essential. We can't get rid of books, paper books, because there is a trend nowadays to get rid of this and depending completely on e-learning. In my opinion, depending on e-learning completely without lectures in hands of the student is very dangerous. So we can make notebooks or lecture notes in the hands of the students, and in the way or another, we make interaction between online and face-to-face. Face-to-face, sometimes we are obliged to make it online. For example, for assignments, for exams, for further details. And the major importance of the lecture in the hands of the student make him understand not only in the time of examination, but for the whole his life. You can't rely on information on the internet all the time. In education, the student should have something in his hands and keep it. This is my opinion, and I would like to make a study similar to this, acting on interactive e-learning in the future.
Yeah, Hassan will expand this research, and we will make three types of e-learning: face-to-face, online, blended.
No. I won't not blended. We call it the international name for this type of learning is interactive e-learning or interactive e-book. So we keep this name and we rely on next.
Thank you.
Yes.
We will study 3-dimension plus blended.
So let us share others. Let me take part in this research, and I think it will be a very good idea to solve the problem not only online and not only on book face-to-face, but it is a mixed or hybrid system. This is a proposal, and we ask for this conference more details about this and more study about this matter to get the better solution.
And the different treatment.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the questions and the additions that you have made. But however, I just have also another one that I can add it, which is in relation to what he said. I once asked about this e-learning, and I was told, because you have experienced face-to-face, you have enjoyed face-to-face, that's why you are opposing to it. Had it been you have never interacted on face-to-face and started learning online up to you date, would you have said this thing? So this sometimes our perception and experience influence our decisions. And if the other way was done, how will it be feel? But it was a question on a psychology debate, in a school. So I'm just leaving it opening. I'm just adding it as a comment into what the last question, the last comment that was made. The floor is still open for those who want to ask.
The same teaching but different treatment and different testing, essay and bubble sheet. Okay. Okay. Repeat. Thank you.
Any question for the poll papers? Anybody who want to ask? I cannot see. Okay, Abdurrahman Amin, I can see a hand. He raised his hand. Abdurrahman Amin? I saw only one hand. Abdurrahman Amin. I think you still have a challenge of the voice like before. Because we cannot hear you. You may have problem with your mouthpiece or your sound card or anything. So you can type your question if you not possible to hear you. Okay, another hand from the Obur presenter.
Yes.
You can take the floor.
Really, we have listened to paper number 23 by Dr. Haytham, and I have a question for him. You got a relation between earning quality and the finance distresses, but this relation is descriptive. We need a relation quantitative. Have you got some equation or some relation somehow? It is proportionality, it is square or linear or differential equation or whatever. It is linear. Have you got this question? But you didn't mention it.
I used linear regression. Have 5 variables, DBS,
yeah.
ROA, ROB, each.
Yes.
So control variables, we relation between variables and the quality.
So please come to the question is the relation between financial stress and earning quality and financial stress. So this relation has how many variables? 5 variables.
5 variables. Okay.
Yes. Is the relation between the earning and these variables is linear? It means linear. How did you find the coefficient of it?
I used multiple regressions in SPSS. So I give you a relation between earning quality and financial distress. Financial distress, the 2 measures, also, and Z-score. We dependent variable, earning quality, can be measurement cost actual. A relation between earning quality and financial
what I'm saying is the relation is linear, but you didn't find the coefficient of linearity. It means x equal 5y, for example, 5 or 6 or any number. You didn't define this coefficients of variables. For example, x1 and x2, x3, x4. Okay, so
variable plus the independence. Okay.
Yeah.
x1, x2, x3, x4.
Why? This is earning quality equal 5x1 plus 2x2 plus 3x4.
Why financial stress?
Okay. Financial stress is equal so many coefficients. You say coefficient is linear. I mean, in this case, financial stress equal K1, some number x1 plus K2, x2 plus K3, x3. K1 and K2 can be, this is zero opinion. You should define these numbers if the relation is linear like that. You did. Thank you. Thank you.
Excellent. Yes, thank you very much. This is an academic presentation, and this is very good. The floor is still open for any question if there is. Any question for any one of the presenters? Okay, if there is no questions, I would like to thank the 4 presenters, Rachel El-Stoni, Zaid Ali Khalil, Joseph Wosu, and Haitham Mohammed for the wonderful presentations. And my special thanks goes to Rasha, who presented and exposed his student, and which we are encouraging all the professors to be doing this kind of things for your students. This is their only opportunity so that you stand behind them and make them strong. Thank you very much. We have ended this one. I am going to hand over to the next session moderator. Next session moderator is...
Yes, I do.
Dr. Khalid. Dr. Khalid, yes, if you are around, you can take over, please.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Kari. I go back. I am going to start the third session for big data also. We have 4 papers for authors, Dr. Usam Mukhtar, Dr. Abdel Majid, Dr. Ashraf Heikal, Dr. Saeed Hamida. The first one, multi-classification of brain tumor, MRI image using deep CNN. Dr. Usama, you may begin. Thanks.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The title of my presentation. The title of my presentation is multi-classification brain tumor MRI image using deep CNN by Dr. Usam Mukhtar, Computer Science Department of our institute. Our today agenda, my PowerPoint will start by introduction about tumor diseases. Then we show the methodology used in our approach, followed by explain the preparing steps used in the experiment. After that, we will show the results of our approach. Then we end the presentation by conclusion and future work. Introduction. The problem that we will talk today is a very important problem that face human and one of the very critical disease that attacked the human, which are brain tumor. According to World Health Organization, we can define brain tumor as a type of tumors that affect the central nervous system. We can present another simple definition for this disease as a collection of abnormal cells that grow in the brain or central spine channel. The problem here is that is not in the abnormal cell itself, but the behavior of this cell, which are the huge increase in its size in a very limited and small time that make any abnormal cell doubled and increased in its size until there is a lump of abnormal cell. When we want to do classification of a brain tumor, we may use a traditional type of traditional approach in classification tumor as benign brain tumor, which has some features as it can be removed and seldom grow back. Also, its border and edge more clear, which make us can deal with this disease by an easy way. The question here, is this type of tumor can considered as a cancer? The good news, no. Another questions, is this type of brain tumor has any harmfulness on a brain tumor or a brain for human? Unfortunately, yes, because the cell itself not have an affected on brain, but increasing in its size may have more stress on behind cells that make some trouble to a human brain. Another type of tumor, malignant. On the other hand, it is very serious and generally has a very harmful effect on human brain. If the abnormal cell started inside the brain, it called primary. The other way, if it start outside the brain and extended to inside the brain, it called secondary type. The problem of this type that is grow very speed and make very harmful effect on human. There are some symptoms and common signs to brain tumor, such as unusual headaches, seizure, behavior change in human, inability to process incoming information correctly, and some visual change, such as blurred vision and double vision. If you wanted to detect tumor disease, there are some types or some approach. The common and most used surgery tissue sample. We take some samples of brain tumor and diagnose this tissue, but it is very harmful for human. An alternative approach is biomarker biomarker in tissue, but it still also has some bad effect on human. Then the solution is in picture. We try to detect and classify the type of tumor using picture. This picture can take using a CT scan or using MRI scanning, which is a golden standard way. From this point, we start our approach, which is a computer-aided diagnosis technique that used to grading and classifying tumor, brain tumor into 4 classes. The methodology used in this approach, we will talk about 4 approach. CNN or convolutional neural network and transfer learning. CNN are currently the most widely used deep feed-forward neural network. It can take different type of input, maybe 1 dimension as signal or 2 dimension as images. CNN is based basically on 2 steps. First is convolutional, which is used trainable filter, has a pre-specified size. The other are weight adjusted, and this process done during training and accuracy adjustment. CNN extended to deep learning, which is one of the machine learning methods that raised in the recent year and used in different research because of the high performance results. It's always used in image classify by extracting most features of image in automation way and use these features to classify and detect the type of image using the pre-extracted feature. The traditional CNN architecture includes 5 main layers. The first layer is a convolutional layer, a non-linearity layer, pooling layer, flattening layer, and fully connected layer. The second topic, transfer learning. Transfer learning is the improvement of learning in a new task through the transfer of knowledge from a related task that has already been learned. In another way, if we have a very big data set, we may use this data set and use an advanced hardware to train and extract the features of this data set. It must be a huge data set. And this training may take more than 1 month or more than 6 months to extract all features of this features. Then we take these features as a model and a predefined feature and using it in a new trained model that will using inside transfer learning process. And this can engage us to some advantage of transfer learning, such as faster training with this data, better performance. Our model transfer learning based on image data set, which are millions of image in different classes, collected as a standard data set, and different models trained on this data set to classify this data into 1,000 different classes. Here we use here we use this model and transfer this knowledge, which are which including parameters and weights, to our new approach, which is applied on fish shear data set, and that is standard data set, but it is has only 3 different classes. Transfer learning, there are different models that are trained on the image net, such as that DenseNet, BestNet, VGG. In our model, we used Google Net. Google Net, as we mentioned previously, trained on image net, which has 1.2 million normal image, but it classifies this image into 1,000 different classes. Here we classify only using 3 different classes. So we need some modification in this approach to convenient with our approach. This editing done in the fully connected layer to editing the output layer from 1,000 to 3 classes. And this is the general figure to this process. Our experimental setup, we used a data set which are benchmark data set called fish figure, consists of 3,064 brain MR image for 233 patients. 1,046 of myeloma, 780 for mini myeloma, and the other for the third type of tumor. The data pre-processed using normalized and resized H sheet. The problem of deep learning is it is need a huge amount of data to have a good and high accuracy. In general, our data is limited. To increase this data, we use the data augmentation approach, which are approach to increase data using some modification in the original image, maybe rotation in angle, filtering mirror, and add some noise. All of this resulted a big number of features that may increase our original feature. We done some experiment, and we gained some good result using as illustrated in this table. To more express or show our result, we used confusion matrix. To explain us, compare us with other, we used we compare us our approach with some related approach, and as we show we have for 97.4 accuracy. Our approach presented an automatic system brain tumor classification using deep learning concept and using augmentation process. There are some future work Maybe we use the GPU high capability and more advanced strategy in this approach. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Osama. Dr. Osama highlights that the brain tumor is the most diagnosed disease, the most dangerous disease. Early diagnosis through grading and classification of brain tumor are vital in cancer diagnosis, treatment planning, and evaluation of treatment outcome. In this paper, a deep learning model based on convolutional neural network is proposed and used for grading the brain tumor into 3 classes named glioma, meningioma, and pituitary tumor. The proposed classification system adopts the concept of deep transfer learning and use pre-training Google Net to extract feature from brain MRI image. We appreciate your hard work, Dr. Osama. The next paper coming up, Dr. Abdelmajid Amin Ali, Dr. Ashraf Hekal, Dr. Iman Anwar, Dr. Shaima Hussein will discuss their paper, machine learning techniques for improving the study of heart disease detection. We are sorry for to heart Dr. Abdelmajid will absent, but Dr. Ashraf will start in for him. Thank you, Dr. Ashraf. Dr. Ashraf, the floor is all yours.
Good night. I am Dr. Engineer Ashraf Hekal and the second author of the machine learning techniques to improve the study of the heart disease prediction system. Agenda contain introduction, literature review, and dataset description, proposed techniques and experimental result, conclusion, and reference. The first of all, we know the heart is one of the most important human organs. It's responsible for pumping the blood throughout the body. Therefore, cardiovascular disease, CV disease, may be the leading cause of this world, especially among people which aged 65 or over. In the United States, heart failure cause 1 in 8 disease. According to the numerous reports issued by the World Health Organization, heart disease accounted for 70.9 million disease globally in 2090, which is 32% of all global disease, and 95 of this disease are due to stroke or heart failure. It's expected to grow more than 23.6 million by 2030. The CV disease diagnosis is very important and should be done accurately and early to save many lives. However, it's a very complex task with the current traditional method being used to assess whether a patient with a particular condition is normal or not. At the present time, machine learning methods and ensemble learning technique play a major role of diagnosis of CV disease to achieve early detection of disease, utilize machine learning to improve health policy and reduce hospital errors, as well as early detection, disease prevention, and avoidable hospital fatalities. Literature review. Most of the previous paper deals with a single model of machine learning, such as Nebel's-based and support vector machine and decision tree. The data set is come from internet, which is labeled data supervised machine learning. It's contained 76 attributes in the database. All published studies only use a subset of 14 of them. The Clever database in particle is the only one of that has been used by machine learning researcher. The whole field indicates whether or not the patient has cardiac disease. It has an integer value ranging from 0, no presence, to 1 is presence. The database contains 303 records that include 165 people who are positive and 138 people who are negative. This is the data set. The proposed technique here is divided into 5 stages: data collecting and data preprocessing, data splitting, and model training and model evaluation. Data collecting is selected from UCI machine learning exploratory. الايميل الادرس بتاعها موجود على الشاشه. Data preprocessing, the data is divided into dependent and independent value. Data splitting, here this is separated into training set of 75% and the test data is 25%. Training model, we used models of machine learning like stochastic gradient descent, decision tree, random forest, linear support vector machine, linear regression, and naive Bayes, key nearest neighbor, support vector machine with ensemble learning, backing, boosting, and voiding. Ensemble learning technique are strategies that can be used to improve the classifier's performance. It's useful classification strategy that compound a weak and strong classifier to improve the effectiveness of a weak learning. At boost with stochastic gradient descent, at boost with neighbor B, at boost with decision tree, at boost with random forest, backing with random forest, and backing with decision tree, and backing with support vector machine, and backing with stochastic gradient descent, soft voiding and hard voiding. The experimental result has been implemented using Python. They have also been executed using Intel Arc or i7 CPU and 8 GB of memory. Evaluation here is used with confusion matrix and can be compute the accuracy for every model. The performance of machine learning algorithm which we can use, we can say that stochastic gradient descent is 72.13 and decision tree and RF and linear support vector machine and linear regression in UV and KNN and the support vector machine so that and the linear regression and UV is the most high performance, which achieved 55 and 25%. Result of different algorithms with backing and boosting technique. Here we saw that in backing is achieved a high score, 20, 99, 29, 88.52. This is a comparison between algorithms. All algorithms we used in this apply about data set, we achieve that in backing with decision tree is a high score. The conclusion here for the backing ensemble learning technique with decision tree model, the suggested ensemble approach achieved a classification accuracy of 52%, which is higher than and single classifier model. The major goal of the suggested ensemble model, boosting and backing and voiding, is to increase the model's prediction, accuracy, and the precise and reliability for hair disease, as well as to avoid any patient misdiagnosis. There is, however, still room for growth. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ashraf. The heart is an important organ in human being, of course, because even a slight error may result in weirdness or death. Diagnosis and forecasting cardiac disorders required increasing precision, perfection, and accuracy. There are immutable heart-related death, and the number is increasing significant every day. To address the issue, researchers use a variety of data mining and a machine learning approach to evaluate massive amount of complex medical data, assisting heart healthcare providers in the prediction of heart disease. Thank you, Dr. Ashraf. We appreciate your hard work. The next one. Coming up, Dr. Ashraf Hekel, Iman Anwar, Shaima Hussein with their paper, malware classification based on machine learning techniques. Dr. Ashraf, the flower is all yours.
The malware classification based on machine learning techniques. Agenda introduction, literature review, data set description, proposed techniques, supplemental result, conclusion, and differences. Malware is a software that is specifically designed to spread, damage, or gain unauthorized access to computer system. Malware consists of a variety of shapes and size, and it can have a variety of effects on your computer. Many characteristics can accurately determine whether or not a piece of software is malware or not. Malware is currently significant concern in the field of the information security, virus, Trojan, adware, backdoor, spam, and others. Machine learning has been a significant tool to evaluating malware in the last 10 years due to the successful application in the domains of image processing, speech recognition, and software engineering. In general, the process of identifying malware can be divided into 3 parts using machine learning. First, the static and dynamic analytical feature extracting from the execution file or mapping into the machine learning input. Second, these trials are used to train forecasting model, resulting in the form of higher level signature. Finally, a prediction is made for the unknown software. For prediction malware classification, we use supervised learning techniques in this article. To classify malware, numerous algorithms are utilized, include k-nearest neighbor, support vector machine, artificial neural network, based random forest. From literature review, non-techniques of machine learning, malware has been discovered in the past using static and dynamic signature-based technique, static analysis, evaluate the program syntax and structure attributes to detect malware even before the program is executed. To get around this detection technology, malware also use a variety of encryption and anonymization and obfuscation technique. Technique of machine learning, anti-malware organization began to develop more sophisticated classification methods based on data mining and machine learning techniques. Data set 100,000 record and 35 feature in data set. Malware is becoming a more serious, dangerous computer system security. It's critical to examine malware behavior and category samples in order to design effective malware prevention tool. We have presentation a new machine learning approach for malware categorization to help with us. As a result of the malware classification experiment, we have conclusions that artificial neural network model is the most appropriate model for this data set. On the test data set, it's had 99% accuracy. We also come to conclusions that static proof is the most important of the features. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ashraf, for the great efforts. Dr. Ashraf sum up many variety of malware, harmful program, and script available on the vast viral world known as internet. They ask the question, what exactly is malware? So he answered about malware is harmful software and the program and the script that can be affect the computer or the user. Thank you, Dr. Ashraf. Finally, we may lead our ears to Dr. Saeed Hameda with his paper, New Probabilities Distribution Model, Stress Strength Reliability Application to Coronavirus. Dr. Saeed, you can go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Khalid. The new probability distribution model, stress strength, reliability, and application to coronavirus. It's a new probability. The main point of this research is generating a new probability distribution by adding 3 parameters from 2 classical probability distributions. It's inverse. It's inverse Lindley distribution and beta inverse distribution. And I make a mixture from the 2 probability distribution. And after that, I studied the properties, the mathematical and the statistical properties of the new probability distribution. And I made an application to prove my new probability distribution is more applicable than the classical distributions. The real data, it is coronavirus or COVID-19, and this data is taken from Egypt as a country, from Africa, and during the time from 1 May to 29 Jan 220. Okay. The contents of the paper is the abstract and introduction and literature review. After that, the new work is the beta inverse Lindley. It's a mixture from beta probability distribution and inverse Lindley probability distribution, and the abbreviation of the new distribution is BILD. After that, the application to coronavirus and the conclusion of the work. An attempt was made to detect the spread of coronavirus in different countries of the world, and in particular, the countries in Africa by determining the appropriate statistical distribution for the analysis of the mortality rate of COVID-19 in this research paper. A new probability distribution will be introduced. It is named beta inverse Lindley distribution. Some mathematical functions of the proposed distribution are derived, and the maximum likelihood estimation method will be applied. It is used the estimate parameters of the new model, and the importance and the significance of the proposed model are applied through COVID-19 data set. Introduction and literature review. The modeling and analyzing lifetime data are important aspects of the statistical research in many applied sciences such as engineering, modeling, medicine, economics, reliability, and so on. Various recent probability distribution discussed modeling of such data by adding parameters using continuous generative distribution. For example, Weibull generator to give new family of distributions. The extension sometimes provide reasonable parametric fits to particular applications as in lifetime and reliability subs. Why we want to generate a new probability distributions other than the classical distribution? Researchers developed enormous extensions of classical distributions for the modeling of real data using different methods. One of the recent methods is beta generalized distributions. For example, et al. 2002 introduced the beta normal Unadaja and decodes 2006 studied beta exponential and so on. Recently, beta generalized Rayleigh distribution was discussed and with application to lifetime data by Cordero et al. 2013. And beta Lindley distribution was determined by Mirovsky and Sharma 2014, and the beta inverse exponential distribution was acquired by Senga and Weibull inverse exponential distribution was introduced by Himeda and et al. 2017. The new work, it's beta inverse Lindley distribution, BIL, it's abbreviation. The properties of the distribution after generating now we are going to how I generated the new probability distribution. I used the inverse Lindley distribution, which is defined by BDF f of x, it's equation number 1, and the cumulative distribution, CDF, it's g of x. It has one parameter theta. And the generalized class of beta distribution, it's the second distribution or the second classical distribution is f capital of alpha, beta, xi. Then the BDF, after calculations, we set from equation 2, the upper limit of the integration is g of x and xi. It's a function. We replace or substitute by this function by the inverse exponential distribution, and after some calculations, we will get the BDF of the new probability distribution. It's a beta inverse Lindley distribution. The graph of the proposed distribution, figure number 1, it's the probability density function, BDF, for some selected parameters, alpha, beta, xi, theta. We have a new probability distribution for 4 parameters. But last, we had two probability distribution, the first with 1 parameter and the inverse Lindley, and the second with 2 parameters. Now we have a mixture from 2 probability distributions, and we can now more fitting the data or any data, we can apply this distribution to fit some of data like COVID-19. The figure number 2, it's the hazard rate function of the new probability distribution. The Rayleigh entropy of the proposed distribution. Entropy is quantity, the diversity, uncertainty of randomness of a system, and are used in information theory. And the most important one is the Rayleigh entropy. The formula of the Rayleigh entropy, mathematical formula, is Rayleigh and so on. Some statistical measures, another statistical measures or statistical properties, the moment generating function. And so I deduced the moment generating function to this distribution and the formula as you see. After that, the mean residual lifetime of the beta inverse Lindley and the Rayleigh and the Q intervals. The distribution of the order statistics, a closed form expression for the PDF of the earth order statistics of the beta inverse Lindley distribution is derived. Okay. We estimated the parameters of the probability distribution using the log likelihood function. That's the equation of it. And the equation of stress strength reliability is maximum likelihood estimation of the model parameters for beta inverse Lindley distribution for complete sample data. And the data analysis was beta inverse Lindley model is fitted to survivor analysis of COVID-19 data with different countries from Africa, for example, Egypt. The data represented the mortality rate from 1 May to 29 Jan 2020. The beta inverse Lindley model is compared with other some competitive models as beta inverse exponential distribution BIE and the inverse Lindley exponential inverse Lindley model. The model selection is accomplished using the Kolmogorov, Seminarov, and the archaic information criteria and the Bayesian information criteria, and the result in table 2. So the smallest value of each statistic gives the better model as shown in table 2. We noted that from the column of AIC, BIC, KC, KS, the smallest value of each one is the BIL. It means that my new probability distribution is more applicable and is fitting more than the two other distributions. Okay. And its graph of the result is the estimated of the probabilities function and the cumulative distribution function of the three models respectively for the COVID-19 data. The colors mean the PDF of each one. Okay. We draw the histogram of the real data COVID-19 and draw the PDF equation of each one of the three distributions. And we found that we can see that our distribution with color blue is cutting the area, more area from the histogram than others. Conclusion. The new probability distribution BILD is introduced in this research. The main aim from generate new probability distribution is to make more flexibility to the distribution so that more data can be analyzed using the new distribution. important statistical measures such as moment generating function, quantile function, and the mean deviations are discussed. Furthermore, the entropy and stress strain reliability are determined. The model parameters are estimated using maximum likelihood estimation, and the simulation study is applied. The importance of the presence. The presented distribution is illustrated by using COVID-19 real data set. According to the results of the beta inverse linear distribution fits better than beta inverse exponential and the inverse linear distributions to the given data. Thanks a lot. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Saeed. Dr. Saeed wrapped up in this presentation that an attempt was made to detect spread of coronavirus in different countries of the world, and in particular the countries in Africa, by determining the appropriate statistical distribution for the analysis for the mortality rate of COVID-19 in this research paper. A new probability distribution will be introduced. It is named beta inverse linear distribution. Thank you, Dr. Saeed. Now we are going to start the discussion for 20 minutes about the last full paper, multi-classification brain tumor by Dr. Usama, and the machine learning techniques for improving the study of heart disease prediction by Dr. Ashraf Ekel and his team. Malware classification based on machine learning techniques by Dr. Ashraf Ekel, also by his team, and his team. New probability distribution model by Dr. Saeed Hamid. We are going to now start. Any question? Anybody have any question? Dr. Bakari, Dr. Ahmed. Okay. Okay. At the end of this day, we appreciate my colleague and all participants in this day. I think the second day is good day for the conference of ASRIC. Thank you for all, and thank you, Dr. Abdullah, and thank you, Dr. Ahmed, Hamdi, Dr. Kari, and all participants in this conference, for all agents. And finally, if you are anybody has any comments about this day or any questions? Okay. Dr. Ahmed.
Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Khalid Al-Bahnasi. Thank you very much indeed. Really, this day, as I agree with you fully, and I reiterate that this day was a successful day. And thank you for all the colleagues who moderated all the sessions, and those colleagues who participated actively in the meeting. We miss really the three colleagues who are not able to present today in the early morning session. They are from Nigeria and from Ethiopia for reasons beyond their control. And I hope that they will be able to join us tomorrow in the meeting to benefit us. Colleagues, I can call this session off with the permission of the president of the conference, Dr. Abdullah Dashan, and with the permission of Dr. Professor Ratemo Michiata. I can call it off, and I see you tomorrow in day 3 in the time of 9 a.m. West Africa time, Central Africa time, and I mean Cairo and Johannesburg will be 10 a.m. And for the East Africa time, Nairobi, Addis Ababa, it's gonna be 11 a.m. Thank you very much indeed, and wish you all a successful conference in the days to come.
Dr. Abdi?
Yes, yes, please.
Good afternoon. I'm so sorry. I was not attending this day because there is a shortage of internet connection due to the security problem in the country. So I apologize for that. I will present my papers by tomorrow.
Dr. Matthew, I can understand fully your position and what is happening in our beloved Ethiopia. And we are our all prayers for Ethiopia to go out from this difficult time united. And the Ethiopia we know strong, united, and we pray for all our Ethiopian brothers and sisters. And thank you very much for bringing this to our attention.
Thank you very much for understanding.
Thank you very much. Amasagnalo. Thank you, colleagues. Wish you all the best. Amasagnalo. If there is no any other comments or remarks, we can call this meeting off. Dr. Khalid, you agree with me? We can call it off. Professor Khalid Banasi, thank you very much. Housekeeping. Dr. Chiari, please.
Yes. Please, the presenters, send us your presentations, your PowerPoint, and the people need to see it. And because you are given 10 minutes, some people have not seen it well, they can have the opportunity to look at you. They have their abstracts, and later on when the full paper is published, it will be good. Please, thank you. Send to the secretary.
Let me reiterate this call, and on behalf of the president of the conference, Professor Dr. Abdullah Dahshan, I call upon all presenters to avail their presentation for us, so we'll be able to share it along with the book of abstract and then the papers that are going to be published. So please, let's help each other for having open access to our data, for having an open access for our information, to share knowledge, to build each other capacity, and to put in place clusters of science. We need to see the output of this conference. Some scientists from Egypt, they are working with their colleagues from Ghana, Nigeria, or from Morocco. We need to have more intra-Africa research. And this will never happen unless we share generously our information, our data, presentations among each other. And let's join the hands for Africa to succeed by us and for the generations to come. Ladies and gentlemen, by this ending call, let's pray for Africa to be united. Let's pray for Africa to be prosper, and let's do our job, because our continent will not be prosper and developed until the scientists carry the responsibility faithfully to ensure that Africa is prosper. And we shouldn't wait for 2063 to harvest this. We need our generation and the next generation to harvest the success we are trying to do for Africa. Long life Africa, long life Egypt, long life Ethiopia, Nigeria, Ghana, all the member states are here. Long life to all of you, to all of our nations, and let's be united and share together our success stories. Thank you very much indeed. Wish you a nice evening whenever you are, and I can call this meeting off. Be well and safe.
Okay.
And
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We really, yes, we really